Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video just talking about the first 4 episodes of The Walking Dead Season 4 that we've seen so far this year. Sort of just kind of giving my thoughts on the entirety of those episodes and the overall direction so far that The Walking Dead Season 4 is taking. Okay, so just another quick pencil picture of Jim Latuzek's artwork, fan artwork for The Walking Dead. That one was of Carl. If you want to see more of it, go ahead and click the link in the description to check out his channel. Very cool artwork. So, my thoughts on the overall direction of The Walking Dead Season 4 so far, as opposed to other seasons. Now, we've been through 4 episodes of The Walking Dead, and it's hard to compare this season to other seasons we've had in the past before. The first 4 episodes of the first season was only 6 episodes. So, a lot happened in those first 4 episodes. There was almost no wasted time, and it was very, very dense with the characters and the storyline of the comic book and kind of blowing past the whole campsite thing and all that kind of stuff, which they had a really good budget for. So it doesn't really make sense to compare these 4 to those 4 when that episode or that season was only 6 episodes. The second season, I think, compares to this one the best, in that this one is sort of like we don't have an enemy survivor at this point that's a heavy concentration in the series. The first 4 episodes of The Walking Dead Season 4, we have not had that. We have not had a governor or a Shane who's starting to, transform into something crazy, or, any of these types of things, like an enemy, so to speak. Your whole comic book, good guy versus bad guy type thing. The governor, is he, Woodbury, what's going to happen, and his introduction, and Merle being part of his group, and everything like that. This season is very, very fresh. It's very new. The concentration is on different characters now. Rather than the concentration being, mostly on Rick, like it's been the first 3 seasons, he has actually, I think personally, kind of faded a little bit into the background with all the new characters coming in and the things that are happening with all of these new characters. You've got Tyrese, who has had a huge part in Season 4 so far. The fight with Rick, for example, the losing Karen, the highway or the herd scene where he goes nuts. He has had a lot of really good stuff so far this season. He's a new character. Bob, also a new character we're getting to know. Is he trustworthy? Is he not? What's the case with him? What's the deal? Another brand new one. Sasha, who's in there, again, another brand new one. So we have so many new characters that have come on board. We're not emotionally attached to these characters yet. We're not emotionally involved in most of these characters yet. Tyrese we are, because we've seen his loss so far with Karen, and we did meet him in Season 3, so he's not as new as some of the other characters like your Bob, for example, or characters like that. And I think that that's why a lot of people, now there are a good amount of people, I so far have really enjoyed The Walking Dead Season 4, but there are a good amount of people that are basically saying that they don't, that they think it's dry, or it's a letdown, or it's disappointing, or this kind of stuff. Me personally, I'm not disappointed at all. I'm not let down at all in any way, shape, or form. But it doesn't really make sense for us to compare it to some of the previous seasons when they're introducing us to all these new characters, and they're really bringing on like a whole roster of new characters for us to get to know, and they're expanding on characters like Carol, who in the past has always been pushed into the background. For example, in Season 3, we got that big death for T-Dog, which was a good death that he went out like a hero, but he never got that kind of character concentration, so we really knew anything about him. I mean, what do we know about him, really? Nothing, really. Versus someone like Tyrese, who's already much more developed, I think, as a character than T-Dog ever was. The amount of lines he's had, the amount of things that have happened to him, the concentration. So I do think that, if there are a lot of people that don't like Season 4 so far, I think the reason why is because we're still getting to know all these new characters, and that's that's a big part of why I think some people may not be that digging it right now. But the thing about it is that the original cast that was with Rick from the start is really getting thin now. So they need to bring in new characters in order to fill out the story and the episodes, in order to, the group, fill out the group too, because they need to get as many survivors as they can to have their best chance of surviving in a zombie apocalypse, right? But also just to, to fill out this 16 episode season, we got to have some more characters. We can't just have a small amount. And I do think that without having that Woodbury section there, Rick's group having to have a lot more characters in it has changed the dynamics of the show a lot. And some people may not like the change because they may be wanting to see more with Rick, more concentration on Rick, or more concentration on the other characters that we've been with since the beginning, right? So I think that's why a lot of people may not be liking season 4 as much. But the thing is we gotta see more characters come in, because if they just keep killing off the older characters and we never care about the new ones, then the show will just die, because the older characters will dwindle down, and then the new characters won't mean anything, and it'll just kind of become lackluster. Whereas I do feel like the development this season so far in the first 4 episodes has been really good with those characters: Tyrese, Carol, Bob, the others, the situation growing between Bob and Daryl, and the situation with Rick and Carol and Daryl and Tyrese. Lots of interesting new developments. I do like them a lot. Now, some people are more used to that comic book style of villain versus, good guy versus bad guy, good group versus bad group, which is what season 3 really was. Season 2 was a lot different in that we had a little bit of that near the end, but it was really more about the character transformation of Shane mostly. Whereas this one here is like something, it's kind of like season 2, sort of, before we had any kind of external enemies coming into play yet, like with those characters that Rick encounters at the bar, and Randall and the whole situation with him, and then Shane going AWOL and becoming basically an enemy himself. So since the enemies are basically the walkers, this infection, and the things that are happening with it, I think that's why some people are not liking it so much this season. The infection, my thoughts on that as a whole, I think it's a good idea because it's something totally different, and it's something that they'll probably never deal with again later on. Like in 10 seasons, like after another 7 seasons, season 10, the infection thing will probably only be at this time, and they'll probably never deal with it again. And it looks like the death toll for it is going to be really high too, and we'll probably see at least one main character death from it, either Glenn or Sasha or somebody like that. Although I hope it's not Glenn, I hope it's Sasha, but we'll see what happens with that fairly soon. So I haven't been disappointed with it at all. I've enjoyed it. I think that the episodes fit together really nicely. Obviously, I've done individual reviews, which are very in-depth for each one. 30 Days Without an Accident, I thought was a great premiere. Infected was a really good episode, I thought, with the breakout and Patrick and everything. Really exciting. Isolation, another really, really cool episode. The fight between Rick and Tyrese, awesome. And then last week's episode, Indifference, with the whole dynamic of being created of Rick kicking Carol out. It's really interesting. It's fresh, it's new, and it's different, and it is darker too. That's another thing that I wanted to say in this video too, is that the overall feel for me is a lot darker. The world seems different than it did in season 2 and season 3, where there seemed to be a lot more hope, whereas this season it seems a lot more hopeless, which is a different feel for the show, which I don't think we've really been in a spot like that before. Even with the governor and them being outnumbered and everything, it still really felt like to me they had a lot of hope and that they were ready to deal with it, and they were probably going to take the governor down if he attacked, which they ended up defending themselves well, and it all worked out good for the characters at the prison. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a really dark feel with the whole infection thing with the blood everywhere, the camera, even the lighting is like darker. The group with Daryl and the others, when they go to that building, it's so dark inside, scary. The steps, everything like that, and the walkers chasing them down the hallway. The walkers are uglier, grittier, dirtier. the characters they meet in the world are more twisted. You know, the girl that, or the lady that Rick meets, you know, crazy lady. and then even worse than that, the two young adults, or yeah, I would say probably early 20s from last week's episode, the one with the broken leg that healed over, and then we see later on that they don't make it, and the boyfriend who possibly is out there somewhere but left her hanging to dry really didn't have much of a choice. Man, what a bleak, dark feel. And I think some people might be turned off by that too, but it's a zombie apocalypse. How could it not be dark? And it's kind of weird that earlier on in the series, you know, it did seem a lot brighter and lighter, especially season 3, for example, when there was almost no concentration on the walkers at all, versus now it just seems to be way darker. Well, I think personally that we're just getting started with the season. We're establishing new characters. Season 3 didn't have to do that as much because you brought back Merle, right? Everybody knows Michonne from the comic books. She's not new, right? So, you know, I mean, it's just different. I do like it a lot. I wouldn't say that these 4 episodes are better than the first 4 from season 3, because I mean, look at those. The first 4 from season 3, we had the prisoner. Well, the prison, you know, was new. They just got there, which was really cool. The riot gear zombies and all that was amazing in the premiere. And then you had the prisoners, which was, well, that was crazy cool, right? And then you had the governor episode, and then you had Killer Within, where both Lori and T-Dog go down. So, you know, are you going to compare those 4 episodes to these 4? It's like, you just can't, you know. It's like the amount of things that happened. I don't know. It's you know, I guess I don't know. I can't really compare it. And even season 2, the premiere was amazing, but then there was, you know, a slow episode there with bloodletting. Save the Last One was a really good episode, amazing, but I wouldn't say the season 2 first 4 episodes were that much better than this season's. Definitely season 3 with meeting the governor and all that other kind of stuff, though, was pretty stellar. So I don't know if it's really fair to compare these episodes from this season to those. Anyway, I'm not saying necessarily that just because I think the first 4 episodes of season 3 were better. There was more that happened. I enjoyed them more than these 4, but you know, I mean, it's a different direction for the show to take. And if they're going to have the show to go on for 10 seasons, they really can't be axing people like that. Like, they can't be killing, like, T-Dog, Lori, Andrea, you know, like, Merle, like, all these characters that have been around since the beginning, like, axe. You know, they got to introduce new ones, too. And I think season 3, maybe they didn't introduce enough new ones, right? So now they have to do it at this point. So, I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I don't think it's a disappointment, and I'm still really looking forward to episode 5 and the rest of the season, but definitely do want to see the governor come back really soon, because the infection thing, it's been exciting. I hope they resolve it next episode or the episode after, and then we can see the governor come back in, or we see some kind of inner turmoil dynamics between Tyrese, Carol, Daryl, and Rick, something like that, and somebody gets it or something happens, you know, with that. Because me personally, the walkers are really cool, really exciting, but I really want to see that survivor versus survivor in a zombie apocalypse type thing. There's something about that that's just really, really exciting. Like episode Home from season 3, the episode with Morgan Clear, and then This Sorrowful Life with Merle at the end of season 3. Those are some good stuff. So I'm excited to see stuff like that in this season too. And I think we will. I think they just want to switch up the pace a little bit. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about season 4 so far. Do you think it's a disappointment? Have you enjoyed it much? Do you think it's the best season yet? I don't think it's the best yet, but I think it's a really interesting new direction for them to take the show that we haven't been in. You know, it can't always be about this group versus this group all the way through for the next 10 seasons. There's going to have to be a lot of different stuff happening. So let me know what you guys think about it, and yeah, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.